Welcome to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm Nicole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul and Rock Your Comeback, as well as an intuitive therapist, and I'm here to remind you of your power. This podcast focuses on mindset and inviting the universe in to create a life that feels so good, so aligned, and so authentic. I hope you're ready. Hey guys, welcome back to another episode of the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I'm your host, Nicole Eaton, author of the books Rock Your Soul, and my latest release that is now available just about everywhere books are sold, Rock Your Comeback, the Down-to-Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power. This week, we're going to talk about getting back on track when you feel really off track. One of the things that I've been doing over the last couple of weeks, if you've seen less of me, is I've been traveling. I have been traveling for honestly what feels like months on end. And I love to travel. I love exploring new space. I love the perspective that travel gives me on life, on what's normal. I love how present in the moment it brings me. But when I get super off of my routine, I don't always feel like my best self. So this is a little bit of a guideline to getting back on track when you're feeling off track. We talk about comebacks in this podcast. And when we're talking about comebacks in the sense of the book, we're talking about a bigger comeback. We're talking about the comebacks where you make a major change in your life, or there's an upheaval and you're just trying to find your way back to yourself. But, sometimes we can have a couple weeks where we're busy, or we've got kids in school and soccer and softball, and we have all of these things on our plate that we haven't had 5 minutes to sit down and just check in with ourselves. And so there's smaller comebacks in the midst of coming back too, is that maybe a month or two ago, you had a brilliant routine, you felt really good, and you're just caught up in the busyness of whatever season you're in. So this podcast is for those moments. It's for those smaller moments when you start to notice you're thinking a little bit more negatively, or you feel like a little less like yourself, or you feel like you haven't had fun in a while, or you're having a hard time being present. Maybe you're not doing manifesting well, or you're just feeling less in your power than usual. And that's a really good thing to know, is what does it look like when you're off? What does it look like when you're not in your power? How do you know, what are your personal red flags? For me, I start to feel more anxious about things. I get worried. I'm not really much of a worrier, but when I'm not doing anything to take good care of myself, I start to feel more negative future casting, which means I'm thinking negative things about the future more often. I feel more doubtful about myself or what I'm doing. When I feel in my power, I feel very, very in control of my life, my feelings, and a lot of my outcomes. I feel really connected to the universe. I feel really guided and supported. I feel really in tune with my intuition. So I want you to be thinking about, what is it in your life? How do you know when you're on track, and how do you know when you're off track? What are those feelings? Because the more you know yourself, the easier it is to do all of this work. The easier it is to heal, the easier it is to rock your comeback, the easier it is to step back into your power after being a little lost or being a little out of it. So there's nothing wrong with those moments. We have busy seasons. I do not regret the amount of travel I've done in the last couple of weeks. I went to Italy. It was amazing. And like I said, there is reward and beautiful perspective that comes from traveling for me. However, I need to get back on track. So I think we can all get back on track together. And here are 4 ways that I like to get back on track when I've been super off my element, just out of myself and just not feeling like myself. The first thing is, first, we get back to the basics. If there's nothing else you can control your sleep. You can control movement in your day, even if it's just a 10-minute walk after you eat dinner tonight. You can do 5 minutes of meditating. The important thing when we're stepping back into ourselves is we're not overcommitting. We are giving ourselves grace, and we are doing what we can and what we have time for. Busy seasons are busy seasons for a reason, right? I have a very busy day of work, but then I have my daughter's softball game tonight, which means I've got to make dinner a little earlier, which means my work day's got a curve. So I know these things about my day and about my life. So I'm fitting 5 minutes in before lunch of meditating. I am going to, I got a nice workout in a little earlier than I usually do. Last night I was listening to a black screen, alpha beta waves meditation while I fell asleep, and I felt so much better and slept so much better. Last night I've been using this Jamaican black castor oil, and you put like one or two, well, I think it's 2 or 3 drops in your belly button at night. It helps with digestion, bloating, but also sleep. It helps sleep. So something to play around with and try. If that calls to you, please do your research. Don't ever do anything without making sure it's the right fit for you. So getting back to the basics means prioritizing, and that might mean in a busy season, waking up a little bit earlier, but that also might mean that sleep comes first and you might need to sleep in a little. You get to do whatever your body needs to be done for you to feel back in your power. So getting back to the basics means honoring yourself and honoring your body. Even if it's just for 5 minutes, and you have 5 minutes, which means you have to prioritize yourself. Number 2, when I start to notice, man, Nicole, you're thinking really negatively, you're really anxious, I have to take intentional time to get back in touch with what I want. What do I want the outcome to be? What am I not wanting to happen, and how could I improve the way I'm thinking about this? So for me, that comes down to manifesting, sitting with, what do I want? What do I want to feel? How do I want to feel in my body? I want to feel like I got a really good night's sleep, and I want to feel really empowered. This is another silly thing that I do that I think really, really matters. I feel better when I look better, or I think I look better. How's that? So for me, like, I could have thrown on leggings and thrown my hair up in a bun and not done my makeup today because I don't have any video meetings except for this right now. But I put on a really pretty little dress today, and I did my makeup really nice today and feel really good about how I look. And that does translate. So if you're like needing to get out of a rut, change your clothes, wear a more vibrant color, put on a different shade of lipstick. Try to play with color theory a little bit to help you shift out of your mood, and take time to mentally say, okay, what do I want this to look like? How do I want this to go? What would be my ideal outcome? Getting back in touch with your power means knowing that you do have some control over your perception of your world, and your perception of your world directly impacts your mood. So when we have control over the perception of our world and we have control over our mood, that means we get to decide how we're viewing things. We get to decide how it gets to go for us. We get to remind ourselves that what we think matters, not just on a neuroscience level, but on a manifestation level. So get back in your power by deciding how things get to go for you. How do you want to wake up? How do you want to feel? How do you want your day to go? How do you want that meeting to go? Step back into your power so that you can decide rather than be victim or reactive to whatever's going around you. And one of the most important things I actually did this morning, number 3, is getting your energy clear. Sage the house, take an Epsom salt bath, do an energy clearing meditation. Your energy matters. And when you've been in a lot of places, or you've been traveling, or you've been busy, it can get a little funky, and we can clear it. We don't have to stay in that negative energy, and the negative energy around our aura, in our aura space, or in our home. So for example, I've had a lot of people here to help me with the kids or the animals while I've been traveling. So it's just a lot of different people in and out of my house. It's a lot of different energy than my house is used to. So I spent this morning opening all my windows and saging the hell out of this place just to get the energy back to a neutral spot. When our energy is funky, it can make us think weird. If I have been in an anxious energy, I definitely want to clear my energy, because if I'm in an anxious energy, then I need to give myself permission to find a neutral energy so my mindset can shift. So I'm going to say that a little more clear, because I don't think I said that very clear. Energy impacts the way we think. If we are having perpetual anxious thoughts, or perpetual sad thoughts, or perpetual doubtfulness, alongside of the mindset work, we want to clear the energy, because that will help us be able to make new thoughts and produce new thoughts easier and quicker. That's a really, really powerful way to begin to shift our mindset, especially when we feel stuck. If you're feeling stuck, energy. You can do mindset work all day, but there will be a resistance to it if the energy is too thick and you feel too trapped. And I like to describe it as energy being like a helmet. And when we're in that same thing, it's like we can't take the helmet off until we get the energy clear, and then we can take the helmet off, and it just allows us to open and expand our mind. And it also helps to not perpetuate any negative energy in our minds and our hearts and our space. So clear the fucking energy. Get rid of the old stuff. Give yourself a chance to start new, and remind yourself that any day is a chance to start over. If you've been just feeling out of sorts, like, it doesn't have to be a Monday. It could be a Tuesday at 2. Like, it doesn't have to be any kind of day of the week for you to say, okay, I'm going to step back into my power. I'm going to take really good care of myself today. I'm going to prioritize all of these things that help me get back on track so I can be a better version of myself, and maybe show up for my kids in a different way, show up for my partner in a different way, that I can feel more like me. What are those things? And lastly, and maybe most importantly, when I get really outside of myself, I forget to lean back into the universe, or I mentally try to control things. That's usually future casting. So when I say future casting, it's just a negative prediction of the future. That's all that is, kind of like catastrophizing. So when I find myself worried about things or the future, I'm really only relying on me, and I'm forgetting my power as a co-creator and power of my mind, but I'm also forgetting that I'm deeply and divinely supported. And so you and your relationship with the universe is personal, and it has nothing to do with what I think it should be or what anybody else thinks it should be. It's what makes you hear the universe and feel connected and feel supported the easiest. For some people, that's meditating. So you might find a nice energy clearing or talk to God meditation. There's a really like nice binaural beat that's literally talk to God meditation music, and it helps your brain waves kind of open to the frequency of the universe. I like that too. But it might just be sitting down and just tuning in, putting your hand over your heart and tuning back into how you listen to God or the universe. It might be reading a text like the Bible or the Course in Miracles, or another book that makes you feel like anything's possible, anything like that. Any manifestation books are really good like that too. Rock Your Comeback's good like that too, especially the last 2 parts. That's really a good space for that too. And then, or getting out in nature. Some people just find the universe in nature and feel closest to God in nature. So whatever leaning into the universe looks like to you, prioritize it, because it's not all up to you. It doesn't have to be all up to you. It gets to be good. It gets to keep getting better. You get to be supported. You don't have to do this alone. There is energy. Energy exists. And you are powerful at the core of it. So is your mind. So is prioritizing yourself. And when we're prioritizing ourselves, we're prioritizing our vibration. We're prioritizing our mood. And when we prioritize our mood, we're putting ourselves into an elevated space to receive, to feel good, to be in the right place at the right time, to be in our own alignment. It all matters and it all adds up. And so if you are off track, or you've been in a busy season, you're getting back to school, you're in softball, basketball, baseball season, whatever, this is your time to say, okay, I'm going to prioritize myself today. I'm going to get back on track. Here are at least one of the things I'm doing for myself today. So making a promise to yourself today that you are going to step back into your power by doing one small thing. These are my suggestions that if you did these, it will help you out. It will help you out. Any of these in any order, getting back to the basics, getting back in touch with what you want, clearing your energy, and leaning back into the universe. Any of those will help you step back into your power, but making a promise that today you get to choose to step back into your power. Today you get to stand back into who you ultimately are and want to be. And it gets to be good, and it gets to be easy, and it gets to be fun, and you're worth the time. You're worth your own time. And that's really important to remind yourself and to know. So from my busy season to yours, I am inviting you to get back into your power. I'm inviting you to step back into, make your mini comeback, as we'll say, and prioritize yourself. If you have purchased my book, I have a special invitation for you. So I am doing a big launch party for my book on October 3rd at 7 p.m. It is a virtual party for everybody who missed the in-person party. And I'm super excited. If you have purchased the book, that is the only entry ticket you need if you purchase the book. If you have purchased the book on a website that is not mine, like Amazon, Barnes and Nobles, Target, Walmart, if you could leave a review and then screenshot that to me, I will send you an invitation link so you can come as well. We're going to be hanging out. We're going to be reading excerpts together, and it's going to be an absolute fun little party. So I am so excited for that. So make sure you keep an eye out for the email or for the link for the invitation. But we'll hang together and we're going to celebrate this fun little chapter in my life and what this book really gives you. I'm so deeply proud of this book. I really feel like it can make a massive impact. And I know that if you read it from start to finish and you do the work, that you'll feel that too. So thank you all for your support, for your love. It means the world to me. I feel so honored to be able to walk in your journey with you, and so honored that you even take time out of your day to listen to this podcast. So thank you a million. I am sending you love. Let me know what you think of this. And don't forget to join the Comeback Club. We're going to have a live Q&A this week. So if you jump onto the Comeback Club even today, you make it in time for this week's live Q&A. So the live Q&A in the Comeback Club is like group therapy. We get to hang out. We get to talk about what's going on in your life, and I get to answer any questions. So intuitive therapists answer any questions that you have about your life. And that is one of my favorite things to do with a group. It's so fun to get everybody together. So I am so grateful for you all, and I'm sending you love. I am sending you light. And yeah, I look forward to celebrating with you soon. Bye. Make sure to keep an eye out for my latest book, Rock Your Comeback, The Down-to-Earth Guide to Reclaiming Your Power, out this summer. I'd love to connect with you. Make sure to follow me on Instagram or TikTok at NicoleEaton.xo. Thanks for listening to the Rock Your Comeback podcast. I hope you're feeling inspired, motivated, and ready to take on the world. Now go step back into your power. The world's been waiting for you. But first, if you could, leave me a review or share with a friend. Thank you.